Hey everybody, it is your Sam again, and I'm here with another video. Today I want to go over nervous laughter, nervous smiles, and nervous tics. I have a few of those. I have a nervous laugh and a nervous smile. So I thought it would be interesting to do a video about it, because not only is it going to give you a little bit more insight into me and some of the things that I may or may not do during the live streams and during these videos, but it might give you something that you can write about as well. A lot of people suffer from nervous laughter, nervous smiles, and nervous tics, and that can be something that you can add into your character that will make them a little bit more realistic, a little bit more relatable. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over that a little bit today with you. Hope you don't mind. Unfortunately, there is probably going to be a section in this video, if I get up enough gumption or strength to cover it, that is going to be a little depressing and a little emotional. So forgive me for that if I do manage it. Now, a nervous laughter or a nervous smile is something that most people use in order to move a uncomfortable or odd situation forward. I started using this as a very young age, and I didn't really realize it until I got much older, and we studied a little bit on this in my sociology and psychology classes in college. So when I was younger, I realized that people were more receptive and more welcoming and just glad to see a smile, and they were more receptive to a laugh or a giggle as well. I was a very nervous child. I'm a nervous adult as well. I have anxiety. As a child, I didn't know that I had anxiety because we were children, and there were a lot of other issues going on that were more of a focus and more real, I guess, in the eyes of the people that loved me. So, you know, sinus infections and chronic bronchitis and asthma and things like that were far more important, because they were technically more life-threatening and, well, more detrimental to what I could do, activities and schoolwork and stuff like that, than, you know, kind of anxiety was, because I hid my anxiety fairly well, I believe. And here we are. The nervous laugh and the nervous smile helped me hide it. When we had to be in large groups of people, like in school and things like that, and if I was focused on, like, if an adult asked me a question and my brain went blank, as it often does, a lot of times I would smile and maybe even giggle or say something a little flippant in order to give myself time to think of an answer, or try to figure out what they had asked me to begin with. So yeah, that is one thing that a nervous laugh or a nervous smile can help with. It also kind of helps discharge the nervous energy, because we as humans think laughter and smiles are comforting things. They do bring endorphins into our body, or start the endorphin process, so that the adrenal glands can kind of calm down a little bit and not give us more adrenaline, and we rely on those endorphins a little bit more. It also helps regulate the emotional state, because of the endorphins that can start being produced in the brain and flow through the body. So when we're nervous, when we're about to panic or something like that, a little nervous laugh or a nervous smile can kind of go a long way into helping us regulate our emotional state and to helping us calm ourselves down. And probably subconsciously we have realized this, and a lot of us just do it on impulse, and it's not really a study about whether we do this or not. It's just something that we have picked up, something that we have started doing because it makes us feel better, or it makes the people around us feel better, and we're not as nervous around them. It gives us time. A nervous tick is kind of something like this. A nervous tick can be a little bit more severe and can actually grow into a syndrome, or it might be part of a syndrome, something like OCD or Tourette's syndrome, something like that. So a nervous tick can be overly blinking or not blinking enough. It can be a grimace that the face does on the person who has the nervous tick. It can be a jerking of the head or a banging of the head against the wall. It can be finger clicking or tongue clicking or toe tapping. It can be touches. Maybe they have a favored piece of fabric, like a handkerchief or something, that they have to touch whenever they get nervous, and it just helps relax them or helps ground them in some way. And there's also nervous tics that include coughing, grunting, or sniffing, and like a repeated sound or a repeated phrase that they say or utter in order to help ground them or release that tension as well. Nervous tics are a lot like nervous smiles or laughter in that they move the situation along, they distract the person, they ground the person who is actually doing it, or it might also release endorphins just like a smile or a laugh does, or it helps them realize that they're doing something and that they need to get back into the present instead of, kind of going off in their own thoughts or their own anxious or their panic attack. A lot of therapists and doctors and experts say that nervous laughter, nervous smiles, and nervous tics should not be suppressed, because once released, it might be far more detrimental or far more dangerous, or just very hard on the person, such as, especially if you do like the nervous head banging or jerks or something like that, if you suppress it all day and you go home and you have to do that head banging can cause you to have a concussion or something worse, and that is just no good. So don't try to suppress these things. What I do recommend is seeing a therapist or seeing a professional in order to get a better handle on why you're doing these things if you find that it's disturbing you or others around you. A professional can help you walk through the symptoms, what leads up to these nervous tics or the nervous laughter or the nervous smiles, so that you can see what triggers you and that you can work out a way to get better if need be. Another thing is that these can be coping mechanisms. They're convincing ourselves that the situation that we are in is not that bad, or that it will eventually get better, especially with the nervous laughter and the nervous smiles, because those are seen as more positive things, and it's a sign of something that is better. It is a sign of something that is good and fun. So we try to bring that into the bad situation when we do the nervous smile or the nervous laugh. One of the things that made me realize that it was kind of an odd thing for me to do. Is when I was younger, I was around 12, maybe 11. I had a great aunt, and she was an amazing person. I loved her dearly. Everybody in the family loved her dearly. Everyone she met loved her dearly. She was just one of those people that was a light to everyone's life. And she got sick with cancer, and it was quite severe. She fought it for several years, and it was during one of her visits. I do believe it was decoration or homecoming, which is a thing, I think it's just in the South, but it could be everywhere else. It's where people go to put flowers on gravestones of their family and loved ones, and it happens once a year. Ours just so happens to be on Father's Day at the church that I grew up in, and that Aunt Weena Ruth grew up in, and my grandparents grew up in. I mean, it's 3 generations of growing up in this church. So yeah, homecoming is kind of a big deal. And my one regret is she came up to visit, and it was after a rough bout of chemotherapy, and she lost all of her hair. And Aunt Weena Ruth was a ballroom dancer. She loved it. It was one of the things that she absolutely adored, and she was fairly good at it. And so she had connections through her ballroom dancing crew, and she got these fabulous wigs that fit her. I mean, they looked natural, and they fit her personality. They fit the haircuts that she had always had ever since I had known her. So yeah, but during this visit, she took her wig off, and I didn't know what to do. I was very disturbed. I was scared for her, because when she took that wig off, you could see the tiredness. You could see what the chemo was doing. You could see what the cancer was doing all of a sudden, and it just hit me. And because I didn't know what to do, I went to my nervous laugh, and it hurt her. And that is one of my major regrets in my life, was hurting her with that nervous laugh, because it was my go-to. I didn't know what to do, and it hurt her. So that was when I kind of realized that it wasn't normal for me to do that, and there was something a little wrong with that. And that is when I started doing a little bit of research, and I got kind of interested in psychology, and I got interested in nervous tics and nervous laughter and nervous smiles. And that was when I started doing research on these things, and researching anxiety, and researching why I was the way I was. And it helped me. I say this and I share this because I also want to let you know, those of you who suffer from nervous laughter and nervous smiles and nervous tics, that there is people out there who suffer from it as well. You are not alone, and you are not alone in your regrets if you happen to have a regret like that, or something worse, or something not as bad. And there are people out there that you can talk to. And if you don't feel like you can or need to talk to a professional, you're not alone. And there is plenty of research out there for you to learn how to cope with things like this and learn how to get better if you feel like you need to get better or need to change and need to grow. And I will leave some of the links down below on some of the research pages that I have found online that might help you lead to more research if need be, so that you know what's going on in your head and emotionally. That's all I have for you today. Another little thing that can probably help with some character development and putting your character into some of these situations is that smiling and nervous laughter is often a sign of submission. So those of you who are writing paranormal or supernatural or something like that, and your main character has a nervous laugh or a nervous smile or a nervous tick, it can be seen as a point of weakness or a point of strength, depending on the characters around your main character. If you have like an alpha character, of course they're probably going to see this as a submissive technique and probably try to take advantage of it. So there's an idea for you. For those of us that suffer from this in real life or have this in real life, see you, and I want you to be okay, and it will be okay. We will get through this together. As always, be kind to one another, stay safe, keep writing, and keep being creative, and I will see you next time.